And there are many benefits to this. One is that it provides immediate feedback. It helps to reinforce positive speaking behaviors while at the same time drawing attention to areas that may need work. Additionally, it offers methods for improvement. By getting an outside perspective or outside opinion, sometimes we get a new perspective on things, on difficulties that we may have had during or encountered during our presentation. And lastly, and certainly not least, is building self-esteem. When we learn to play up our strong points, and when we learn to correct or modify any flaws or difficulties we may have, you can't help but feel better about yourself. And so you gain new confidence, which helps you in our speaking lives, but also in our personal lives. Of course, all of this is dependent on getting effective evaluations. And this is a skill. And there are techniques to developing this evaluation skill, which I'm going to be talking about tonight. The first thing that we want to be considering is the speaker's goals. Evaluating a speaker takes preparation and organization. So as an evaluator, your homework is to contact the speaker beforehand in order to review and discuss the objectives of their speech or their manual, as well as discuss any concerns that the speaker may have. They may be having ancillary goals that they're trying to work towards, or they may have some concerns about the speech itself, or perhaps about their speaking skills. By touching base with the speaker beforehand, you can prepare for this so that when you're listening to the speaker, you know what to look for, and then tailor your evaluation accordingly. Once you've figured out what you want to include in your evaluation, the next step is to organize that information in a coherent and positive way. And the most common way that we do this is what's called the sandwich technique, where you have positive comment, which is your slice of bread, followed by an area to improve on, the meat, and then follow that and end with another positive comment, so that the evaluation ends on a good note. If you follow this template, this is the easiest one to do, it'll be just fine. For more advanced evaluators, what you can do is what's called the modified sandwich. And it's the same thing as the basic sandwich, but it adds a couple of layers to the basic sandwich. So again, we have our slice of bread, the positive feedback, followed by the area to improve on, and then we have condiments that have been added. So comments on how to improve, or even things that you think, or even comments on why you think those improvements are necessary. The benefits of doing the modified sandwich are that it puts more emphasis on specific suggestions for improvement, which can potentially be more useful to the speaker or the evaluatee, and also is more relaxed in the order of the ingredients. So you can play around with it, which allows you to be more relaxed, more natural, and more authentic in your approach. Finally, when actually delivering the evaluation, there are some things that you want to keep in mind. And one thing is to do what's called personalizing your language. In other words, you want to get away from phrasing such as you didn't, or you should have, or you failed to. Indictments belong in a court of law, but not a Toastmasters club. And as evaluators, you have to think about what your purpose is to stimulate improvement in the evaluatee. So instead, consider using phrases such as I felt, or I believe, or I suggest. So when you're writing your evaluation, when you're making your notes, if you keep a running mantra in your mind of what did I hear, what did I see, or what did I feel, then you'll maximize your skills as an evaluator while still keeping things on a positive note. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is things that we generally want to avoid when giving an evaluation. The first one is to avoid what's called the summary evaluation. And this is where the evaluator reiterates what the speaker had just said. Now certainly if you have if you have an example within the speech that you want to use in order to illustrate a point that you're making, that's fine. But the audience, keep in mind the audience has already heard the speech, they don't want to hear it again. So what you want to make sure of, what you want to take care of, is that your evaluation is an analysis of the speech and not a summary of it. It's a fine line between the two. The second thing that we want to be avoiding is this. Do you guys know what I'm referring to? That? No? I don't know. from?
Whitewashing.
Whitewashing, exactly. Very good. Jennifer wins a prize. I got a sticker for her. Sometimes we give evaluations that consist of nothing but praise for the speaker. And this type of evaluation may flatter at first, but over time can tend to demoralize a club. And what we have to remember is that our purpose, after all, our whole reason for being here, is to receive insight from our fellow Toastmasters in order to help us gradually improve in our speaking performances. So when we're giving evaluations that do not have suggestions for improvement, then we're not helping the evaluator, we're failing them in that regard. There are reasons why this may occur. Sometimes we're afraid of offending. This really should not be a concern. If done properly, an honest evaluation can and should be uplifting, encouraging, while at the same time giving suggestions for improvement. Such evaluations are in fact an integral part of each club meeting. The second reason why this may occur is sometimes there's a misconception that you can't evaluate someone if they have more experience than you, and this is false. While you may be limited in your speaking experience, you have a lifetime of experience listening to presentations. So that means that your opinion matters. As an audience member, you are who the speaker is trying to reach. And as such, that makes you eminently qualified to evaluate whether or not that message has been well received. Whether or not you can do it or not, or whether you can speak well or not, is entirely irrelevant. Now certainly there may be times when you just can't think of something to improve on. The person did the role perfectly, they gave the perfect speech. That's okay, you don't need to force it if it's not there. But most of the time, the majority of the time, every speaker, no matter how experienced, can improve. And most importantly, every speaker wants to improve, and you can help. So evaluations offer the most important learning tool within the Toastmasters experience. When assigned to evaluate, we're not only given the opportunity to polish our own speaking skills, but to help others attain their specific speaking goals. We owe it to ourselves, to the person who's being evaluated, and to all club members present to provide an experience that is positive, constructive, and informative. In other words, to help club members become the speakers that we ourselves want to be. So, Karen.